Recording is in progress. We are live now. I mean, live delayed later for a new NSL live talk. And I have Mr. Pete Allum on the other side there. Good morning. Good afternoon, Pete.
Yeah, good morning to you, Kurt. I'm at home in Spain, so it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's about 10 o'clock for you, I guess.
Yep.
Hmm.
We're both in the land of the citrus, of the oranges. You're in
Yeah.
Spain now, and I'm in Florida.
Hmm.
We share that at least. Well, we share a lot of things and a lot of history. Where to begin? Well, we were both recently looking at your profile, NSL profile, because somebody thought in 2002 that you should have a profile. People should know more about you.
Hmm. Well, especially being as I was about to retire.
Was it in 2002? No, yeah,
I,
right.
I'm sure. I'm sure I did.
That's
Yeah.
about 23 years ago. Huh? Well, long
Uh-huh.
not retirement. Anyway, so it's kind of funny, you are probably the first or one of the first NSR profiles, at least
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
in 2002, because I don't think the website was actually running the way it is now in 2002. I think it
Hmm.
came in 2003 or so. I'm not quite sure. But fact is, you're on the top of all the profiles, and that is because of your last name.
I was going to
Obviously.
say that's not through any merit of mine, apart from my family's name. So,
Unfortunately, I have to confirm this, you are.
yeah.
But then on the other hand, you are on
Yeah.
top in many ways. You are, I don't know, of all the people I know in skydiving, I think you are probably the most popular one. And that is due to your personality, to your British politeness and kindness and whatever, because you are actually British, right?
I am, yeah. Although, to be fair to all that, I have a lot of role models from within the sport have shaped me and keep shaping me as well. So it's definitely not all on my shoulders. I've had a lot of mentors that have kind of taken me through, and onwards and upwards. From here on in as well. Hmm.
Yeah, well,
But
let's look at this. I wanted to do this anyway. Now, let's look at your profile story because there are
uh-huh.
mentors in there, right? So let's see
Yeah,
who you actually mentioned in 2002. Where are the mentors? Here. So you are
yeah.
talking about your mom and
My mum
dad,
and dad, my daughter. So at the time,
right?
I only had one daughter. Now I have two, and they both have equal effects on me for sure. And my girlfriend is now my wife.
Yeah.
So that worked out pretty good.
It is interesting also that you actually lived in the same house where I'm running my home office now here for
That's
many
right.
years.
Yeah.
How many
Hmm.
years did you spend at Pecan, the headquarters of the NSL, the National Skydiving League?
I would say Anne and I bought that place. We had it for about 4 or 5 years
Okay.
when we were back in Deland. And then we kept it running. I know Holly stayed there for a while and we rented it for a while. And it was a perfect opportunity that I bumped into you downtown, that it then changed hands and became the NSL headquarters. Yeah,
We'll never forget that. Yeah, what a coincidence. That's because
it
you were
was. That was a
already
good one.
living in Spain by then. So
Hmm.
you were not here in the land, you were in Spain and you visited,
Yep.
and I didn't even know you were visiting. And then we go downtown on a Friday evening and run into each other. And there I had a house.
Yeah, it was just a handshake later, really. A handshake and
Yeah.
a cheers of a beer mug, and there it was. Yeah.
Anyway, so let's move on here. Pete, you and I, with most people, I could chat forever, but with you, it could be just hours and hours and hours that we could spend to recall and go back in history and all this. I have to watch it because I have
Yeah.
a maximum of 40 minutes.
Hmm.
The patience of the audience is probably being
Yeah,
stretched
and
thinner,
also
but
the audience hopefully has changed a bit. Some of those, hopefully a lot of your audience, they look at these names and they look at me and they're like, "Who is this old dude?" So,
well, we'll get to
so
that later. So,
yeah.
you are not retired as some people are. We'll talk about that later. Let's look at
Hmm.
the mentors here first again. There is a Scott Mook,
Scott Meek.
Scott Meek.
Yeah, Scott Meek. So he
I,
was the name of the the Mika, the random E.
yes,
That's
yes.
named after him.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're kidding. I had no
No, no,
clue.
no. He was on the US national team back in the day, and he was our very first coach as an eight-way coach. I started off doing eight-way, something that not a lot of people are aware of. But my first sort of foray into formation skydiving was in eight-way. Yeah, and he was our coach. He coached us in the US as we were training for the World Championships in 1985 and 19 was it 90? No, maybe it was 87, I think, was we were training for my second World Championships in Brazil. Yeah.
So
Super
Scott
nice
Meek
guy.
at that time, so he must have been a golden knight.
No, he was from the other side, from the West Coast guys.
Oh, in the 80s.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that was the
hmm
chorus and
It was Visions and Cause. Yeah, the kind of when Magic and Vision, those were the two big eight-way teams back then.
mhm,
But then it was their Cause, as you say. Yeah, they got some sponsorship there. And then, but the Knights were definitely coming on the scene then as well as a
mhm.
powerhouse. Mm,
Yeah, in 87, the Knights, the Golden Knights
yeah.
won the eight-way
hmm
competition in Brazil. So I was there too. We were competing in eight-way.
Yeah, we were.
And then, so that's what Meek. Then the next one, there's Jack Jeffries. Um,
Yeah, so I see Jack a little bit more often now. Him and Orla have a place just down the road from us. They come visit every so often. Him and Orla are really into their other sports. Orla's like a world level Iron Man, and Jack, who's doing a lot of cycling. So Girona is a very popular place for cyclists, and they bought a place. So we get to see them a couple of times a year.
no, that's great. So and he
Mhm.
was let's see, in the 80s, I mean he was not really on the scene. He was still throwing pizzas at Sergio's in Zephyr Hills at that
Hmm.
time, right?
Yeah, but I think that's where we first met skydiving. That's where we first got some friendship together, and then he moved up to Deland, where Bob kind of helped him put the team together with Tom Pyrus after the Air Bears, wasn't it? So after they finished, yeah.
So when we wrote this profile in 2002, um,
Mm.
Jack was still kind of a very young um, four-way competitor by then, and you picked him as a mentor. So you must have known him already in different ways at that
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. He very kindly asked me to come and coach his team when they were training for the World Championships, just for a day, just to kind of get an outside view. And I
Oh, with the
always saw him
Deland
as like
team.
the Deland. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. What was it? Deland Heat and Air.
Vertical
Oh,
air. I don't know. There were
yeah, there was a whole bunch of
several different.
those. But anyway, I mean, I think he's not a bad person to have as an inspiration either. I mean, he's definitely a very together human being, and yeah, he's still doing a lot of good work, as you know, with Shannon as well on the corporate side of things. But still coaching, I say he's still coaching for a living.
And then next on the list there was Dan BC. Well, that is a close connection there,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Dan
And
was our coach as a 418 when we drove from Florida to Paris in a van, and Dan coached us out there. It was great having some coaching from him. Super fun, and that was right. That was right before the horrible accident that happened, where he lost some of his teammates. We
yeah.
were there up until maybe it was just a week before I think we left. Yeah,
Oh, tragedy. Yeah.
tragedy. I mean, for the whole sport lost someone that day. I mean, a whole tornado going down. There
Well,
wasn't anyone in the sport that was kind of untouched from that accident.
and we are glad that we still have Dan, who was
Yeah.
in
hmm
the same plane, and he was jumping at the Nationals this year
Yeah,
together
it was good to
with
see.
Jack and
Yeah.
his original
Yeah.
teammates.
Mm.
Unbelievable, fantastic. What a recovery. I hope that everybody has read his book. There's
Yeah, good reading. Some good lessons there for sure.
lessons in there. When are you going to
Mm.
write your book, Pete?
I'm good for now. Busy living life at the moment. I like writing stuff, but I like writing presentations and I enjoy teaching a lot still. So yeah, I put my effort into that.
And then you mentioned your teammates.
Mm,
Which teammates are you talking about?
yeah. Well, there's been one or two, Kurt. I mean, my very first four-way team would have been in 1983. And I met one of those guys the other day. So I was packing in Emporia during the summer, and someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey Pete, how's it going?" I looked around, and there was Dave Hughes, and we used to call him Huggy back then. And he's been running a drop zone in California for the past 20 years or so. And I hadn't seen him for 35, 40 years, and he was on my first team. So it was great to see him. But from there, there was, the XL boys. Well, I mean, my first team was with some girls in Symbiosis or Mo, as we were called back then. And then it was mostly boys' teams. But then I've definitely balanced that out over the last decade. And I've done a lot of mixed teams, which I have to say are very healthy environments to be in. I really enjoy it. So my teammates are still my motivation and inspiration.
And now
All of
you've
them,
gone
all the
to
way through.
you have actually gone to the extreme now because now you're the only boy in your lineup.
Uh, actually, yes and no. My outdoor team, there's two boys, two girls.
Oh, there's a difference between. So who's your
Yeah.
outdoor team at the moment?
Okay. So the last 2 years, I've done an outdoor team with two of Chimera, James and Sarah, and
Oh, okay.
Julia Swallow. And that we've won the UK Nationals the last 2 years. The indoor team I did at the World Championships this year in Rayford was with NFTO, where I took Sean's place. And then just recently, I did the British Nationals where I took Anna's place with NFTO.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The outdoor team continues.
The outdoor team continues. We are right now looking to go to the World Championships. We just made a decision. We'd like to train a little bit and a little bit more. We've just done maybe 100 jumps before each nationals, but we want to up the ante a little bit and go to the World Championships, which will be in Eloy, I believe, next October.
And yeah, you competed with this team at this year's nationals and won them.
Mhm.
So, in fact, you are now indoor and outdoor, British indoor and outdoor champion.
Yay.
Both.
Well, me and my team for sure. It is a team event, as you know.
You and your teammates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Mm.
we go more, if we're looking at the profile information,
Yeah.
by then, is there anything in there that you see now when you look at it, um, where you would say, well, I don't really know, if this is still
Who that
like,
person is. Let me have a look.
yeah,
So,
you
I mean, I've got more jumps now. I've definitely done more positions in four
more
way.
than 27,000.
Yeah, I got 37,000 now.
Okay.
My funny moments in skydiving are still pretty similar. I have way more mentors than before. Oh, interesting hobbies. Yeah,
Yeah.
cycling is off the menu mostly because of a bad neck, but I still like to run and swim. Surfing and snowboarding are still up there. I do a lot of travel with my wife. We go and visit some pretty extraordinary places once every year. So that's in the hobbies. And yeah, I keep listening. I keep reading a lot of books. I get a lot of recommendations through people that I meet. I just got a good recommendation from Tex. It was again sports psychology, which is I think a pretty favorite topic of mine. That's something I keep reading up in on the non-fiction.
Mhm.
But I don't know about you, Kerb. I really enjoy a bit of fiction just to break things up as well. I think too much
I like
non-fiction makes
novels.
makes me
Yeah.
dull. Mhm.
I like to read the same books. We have probably read some of the same books. Sport psychology, mental training is so fascinating.
Mhm.
So I've
Yeah.
always been into this. It is so educating, for yourself. And it's not just about skydiving or sports, it's about life, obviously. So, and
Yeah.
then throwing in a novel once in a while, like I'm just reading The Monkey Wrench Gang from
Oh
Edward
yeah.
Ellic.
What's that about?
Um, It takes too long to explain that now.
Okay,
It's
I'll look it
entertaining,
up afterwards.
but it's about it all plays in the nature and in the
Hmm.
West, and
Right.
it has to do with environmental understandings and blah blah. So it's a novel, so it's entertaining.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
I
my
like to.
current yeah, I like that mixture. My current novel is Don DeLillo. I'd always been recommended it, but Underworld, which is this massive book that's kind of strongly based on American life, which is really interesting, having just spent the last few weeks in America. And
That sounds
yeah,
very interesting.
it
Send me
is.
the title, please. I'm curious
Will do. He writes beautifully. Yeah, it's a great author. Hmm.
because we're both strangers, in a different country. It's always
Yep.
interesting to learn more
Hmm.
about the actual culture. We know our own culture, British
Well,
culture,
I
German
think
culture.
it's our responsibility as an immigrant, isn't it, to get to know the culture of the place where you're living.
We
And
should. I mean,
I loved it when I was in the US, and I'm really enjoying the same thing now in Spain as well.
let's go. I don't know whether I want to first go all the way back because there's some interesting stuff there. But then the if I look at the profile stories and all that, there was an update in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so we know what happened after. I knew you really, or most people knew you from your time with Sebastian XL. By the way,
Yeah.
we talked earlier about Deland, and so forth, where you spent a lot of time here, but your actual home in Florida was in Sebastian, right? You spent
Well,
most.
10 years. Yeah, it was 10, pretty much 8 years in Deland and 10 years in Sebastian. And Andy Grimwade, who was the owner at the time, he invited us to come and be the sponsored drop zone four-way team. So it was a place where I did 10,000 jumps and really got a chance to work my trade, if you like. And great thanks to him. And when he sold the drop zone to the guys that carried guys and girls that carried the drop zone going. Yeah.
And then it goes on. The time between 2013 and
Hmm.
or between 2002 2013 was XL and Aftermath, because XL actually continued even though not outdoors, and it became an indoor team. And
Yeah.
the World Challenge was basically your signature event. And I
Hmm.
remember that. But then from 2013 on, it turned into the Satori story mostly.
Well, you missed the Italians connection in between there
Oh,
as
that's in
well.
2006, and we need to go to that, of
Yeah.
course.
So just a quick history lesson, Kurt. So 2003, I had quit doing four-way for a good 6 months. And then after that, I joined the Italian team for quite some time until about 2011, up until 2013, because I went as a coach to Dubai. But Patchy from the team that I was with, he had a car accident and couldn't make it to the competition. Literally on the way to catch his plane to the airport, so I ended up stepping in and doing round one to round 10 with the guys as my only jumps. And then after that, I started again with the UK group. Yeah,
Yeah, so um, I knew you from the beginning times, from the early days, due to this, and a lot of people in the audience um, with Sebastian XL. I mean,
yeah,
Sebastian XL, whatever XL,
mm,
and it was mostly because of this fascinating duel that went
mm,
over many years with the Deland Norgies.
yeah.
All the Norgies, like they were home at Deland by then.
Hmm.
You spent, I mean, at least over a decade battling with them. XL with changing different lineups, but
Hmm.
um, I think you beat them only once at a world championship. I think this battle or this duel began in 95 maybe,
Hmm.
97, 99.
And And
You,
they got us on the important one. They got us
yeah,
on
yes.
2000, like the one when we were going for medals, they beat us. And they made us feel it. They were definitely very happy to have beaten us. And can I add a little end to that story as well?
A little end, a happy end.
Well, For me, maybe.
No, the
I
end it was only uh, it goes into the present, so we'll get to that in a second.
exactly.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about this for sure. So
Yeah.
the so you just the Norgies were always in your way of winning
Hmm.
the bronze medal. It was
Well,
about the
I
bronze medal,
think let me just be clear about that. I think we're always in our own way. You know, we can think there's another team that's beating us, but we only ever lose or beat ourselves in this sport. You know, we're not going head to head. You know, we're not muscling it out.
right?
And so yeah, it's wonderful to have teams that push you and inspire you. But at the end of the day, it's what you do, the scores that you put on the board, and you can choose to be affected or not by another team.
It's
So
like
I would say
golfing.
yeah, we did a good job of beating ourselves for many years, and some things, sometimes things worked out good, you know, and sometimes not so good, and that's kind of the way life is, you know. You win some, you
Yeah,
lose some, but
yeah.
just keeping on coming back seems to be the trick.
And beating yourself is, probably just
Mm,
for to make sure we are on the same page with it. But that's when you're great in training and at the competition, not you're not
mm.
living up to the training
Yeah,
performance.
maybe. Exactly.
Something,
Yeah. Mm,
roughly. Anyway, so then 2003 was the last time the Norgis
mm-hmm.
won again. I think the closest was a 1 point
Yep. Hmm.
difference in
We like to
99.
make it exciting. We'd like to
Yeah,
make it exciting. Yeah.
but the Norgis kept winning, and
Yeah.
uh, and then you decided, oh, with XL with the Brits, I cannot win a medal. I'm just gonna go Italian now, and then I can win a medal. And you did. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
It
exaggerating.
wasn't quite. Yeah, you are exaggerating just for good
Yeah,
comic effect. But yeah, that's kind of how it worked out, though. That is how it worked out. Yeah.
yeah. So the Synapse, because the Synapse, they did win. You did
Mhm.
win a bronze medal with Synapse in 2006 in Germany.
Yep. In Gary, yeah. Hmm.
And did this actually make a big difference for you? I mean, you went
I
to the
Yeah,
podium. You had Sean with you on the podium, I believe. I remember a
yeah,
picture. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
She would have been 4 at the time. You know, it was wonderful. It was a really nice feeling. And what was really nice was so many people had seen how much we'd been battling over the years. And there was just an outpouring of love, really. So it was one of those times, you know, a lot of people say, hey, I didn't mean much being on the podium, but no, it felt really good, especially with the support of all of my peers, all of our peers, rather. Mm-hmm.
And then XL was basically done, but the Norgis continued
Hmm.
for a long time. They even, when was the last, were they competing this year? Yeah, three of them. I think it was only Lisa who was not. They went to the
That's right.
indoor. Um,
And they had Roy from ex Hayabusa. So Roy was on the team with him. They've been training with him a little bit. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so they have been active, not like you outdoors and stuff. And now we're coming to the point. One of them, and that
Hmm.
is Mr. Paul Kolbenstvedt.
Hmm.
He went all the way together with you, and he is still very active too. And he is competing together with two of your teammates.
Yeah. Well, they competed at Wimby Namik. But I just wanted to finish off the Norwegian saga because
Okay.
the Norgies with Roy competed at British Nationals this year.
That was a British nation. It's okay.
That
Yeah.
was British
Okay.
Nationals. And yes, we did manage to beat them. So feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah, so but Paul has other plans too, where he is beating you at the moment. So this kind of thing goes probably on because he is competing with Sean and Vena and Roy
And
now.
Julian. No, no, Julian.
Julian. Yeah,
Yeah,
Julian
yeah.
is
Mm.
back in
You know,
Netherlands
so
now.
Paul has had a long-term project. He came out of, he's retired, right, from his fire brigade and things like that. And uh, he decided to go all in over the last 3 years. And they did, I think, 20 hours this year. They plan on 40 hours next year. So they're doing a lot of training and they're seeing the results from it. I mean, they're just up to a 29 something average in the last Wimby
Hmm.
Namik. And it's great to see him throwing his heart and soul into it. And yeah, training up the rest of the gang as well. I think Julian's doing a really nice job with him, I have to say. Mhm.
Yeah. And there are people who really think that Paul, I've heard this, and that Paul is probably the oldest person competing on the highest level on the planet. But there's somebody else who's actually a year ahead of Paul, right? And who would that be? I think his name is Pete Allum.
I don't know, how old is Paul? I thought he, because
He's
I'm
60.
61. Oh,
He's
really?
60.
Okay. So he's still a young
Yeah.
lad then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So, you cannot brag about that he is the older. He doesn't brag
He
anyway.
can,
He's a
I was
very
just
humble
going to
guy.
say, if he wanted to brag, he could. He's got plenty to brag about.
Yeah,
He's had a good
yes.
life. Yeah.
And I'm bragging as much as I can about the Norgis and about
Hmm.
not so much. I'm not, you're a quiet person, Pete. And,
Hmm.
I wanted to say this earlier. Everybody knows and appreciates you because of your personality. And part of that personality is that, you're doing your thing and you're not advertising yourself very much and all this. And that has always been like this. And it's probably still the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to find something that works for you, and feel comfortable within as well.
So the story now on the end, I was looking a little bit. I look at it every
Hmm.
day, and I'm glad when don't have to look at the NSL website for a day. But
Well, before you go on, I mean, the NSL is still the only reference for four-way, right? I mean, it's the only place we can all go to find out what's going on in the world of four-way.
well, thank you. I like to hear that. And of course, I'm enjoying that. I wouldn't do it because it truly, you're not becoming a millionaire with that for sure not. So it is, yeah. It's I'm enjoying it, and that's why I'm doing it. And I'm glad that some people go to it here and then to find some information. And anyway, so back to Pete Allum profile. The update in 2013 was actually not the
Hmm.
last one. If you go further down, you will find. Let's look at this. I almost forgot about this. That where's the sharing? Uh, Come on, there. Okay, here we go. Um, let me share this with the audience and with you because if you go all the way down here,
Hmm.
in 2022, you were inducted to the Hall of Fame. And anybody who would learn more about Pete Allum, um, here you can. It's an opportunity because Sherry Butcher goes even further back into the history. And then there is Ian Ballas, who
Ian Bobo.
presented it to you.
Ian Bobo. Yeah.
Ian Bobo, sorry, Ian Ballas. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, we know
Yeah.
him too.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting
Hmm.
um, little video. I filmed that just because that's what I do when I
Hmm.
go somewhere. I have my little camera with me all the time, and I almost forgot that I had this. So there's a part of Pete Allum in this Hall of Fame induction, and that was posted in 2022.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize he had that on the website. No.
Yeah, sometimes I find things so I said, "Oh, where is that coming
Hmm.
from?" And then of course it's interesting, that I'm glad I did this because it's almost, yeah, it brings history back to
Right.
you forget about things. You cannot have everything in your head. Anyway,
Hmm.
so that was in 2000. Were you surprised when all of a sudden they invited you to in 22, you were so active. You have always been active in all kind of ways. Again, I recommend to listen to Sherry Butcher and her history of Pete Allum because there's much more in it onto it than we can cover here in a conversation like this. I just want to
Hmm.
talk with you anyway. But there you find some additional information going further back and in different areas of the sport because
Well, I
I
was going to
do.
say, Kurt. I mean, for me, skydiving is fascinating. It's the way I choose to live my life, if you like. It's my worldview, and four-way is one small part of that. It seems like formation skydiving is all I do.
Exactly.
If you just look at the NSL, but it is really just a small part. I love the sport. I love the people within it. I love the fact it's allowed me to travel, meet more people, and learn new disciplines. I'm still learning new disciplines to this day, and really my goal is to be a student for as long as I can skydive for.
Yeah, and you've been involved in all this, for me, I totally agree, when for me, the four-way and eight-way formation skydiving competition is the only thing in my life and blah, blah. But I do know that we are just a tiny little piece of,
Yeah, the big
of all
puzzle. Yeah,
this. There are so
and it's a
many.
great puzzle. Yeah.
It's a great puzzle, and
hmm
I always wish that I had enough time and resources to do all of it. But there's not enough
hmm
time, and there are not enough resources if you really want to do everything. So if you're engaging in one part of it, Pete,
hmm
I have to say that unfortunately we are slowly but safely
Yeah.
running out of time here because
Cool.
we could talk for hours, and an hour is nothing. But after
hmm
40 minutes, Zoom says that's it.
There's no thanks. Yeah.
And it's a good thing kind of because whatever we would like to chat about and could chat about is
Mhm.
not necessarily what everybody wants to hear. So
Yeah.
limiting it to, and you know how it is these days, we're living in a different world now than 40 years
hmm
ago. So the attention span has become
Well,
a little bit.
if anyone has made it to the last 5 minutes of this, there is something I would like to say. That is, if you are new to the sport, and if you are new to the sport and watching this, that's already a strange place to be because you've been listening to a couple of old guys talking about a four-way world for a long time. But if you are young in the sport, you just started. There's a lot in there. Just because you're doing four-way right now doesn't mean that's all you're going to do. Just because you're doing angle flying, it doesn't mean that's all you're going to do. Or canopy formation, you just saw the world record that just went on, or the flock in, or the head down, or the head up. There's so much to do. Do not compartmentalize yourself. There is something for everyone in this sport, and I just encourage everyone to go out there and try find out what suits you. Because four-way works well for us, but there's some things that work for other people, and it's a big, wide, beautiful world out there. Go and check it out.
I totally agree. Only one thing I have to throw in with that, and that is I personally have always been driven by team sports because I
hmm
love the interaction between people and how you depend on each other. And I don't know any other sport, not even other team sports, which I've done a lot, where you're depending on each other as much as in four-way formation skydiving competition. I have not
Yep.
seen anything else. It's amazing. And this
But
kind of
that could be freestyle, that could be free fly, that could be
right.
VFS. That could be a big way record where you've got that same feeling. Where you're all depending on each other in any discipline as well.
Hmm. That is
Mhm.
something special, really in skydiving, and that you
Yeah.
depend so much on how somebody
Yeah.
else is
Your life depends upon it for sure.
live too. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good ending, Pete. I think we should leave it with that and that.
Cool.
And you heard the wise words of Mr. Pete Allum here at the very end, and not only at the end, all the way through. Turn to him if you need advice with anything. He has seen it all, he has done it all.
Still got a
Thank
lot
you
to do,
for
I'm hoping.
thank you for sharing it, Pete. And
Yeah.
good luck and have with your next adventures in
Mhm.
primarily four-way at the moment, and then back with all the other things that you're doing.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, Kurt. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work, mate.
Thank you. I will.